My obsession with Schitt's Creek has taught me a lot about being an artist, and I'm here today sharing one of those lessons with you. Hi, I'm Courtney. I'm an artist and a vocal coach, and I love helping singers learn to trust their own voices. This is the second installment in a series of 5 videos, 5 lessons that I have learned from Schitt's Creek. Once again, I promise no season 6 spoilers until video 5. If you have not seen season 6 yet, because it is not on Netflix yet, if you're not, I will not ruin it for you. Let's go. Lesson number 2. A recognizable figure doesn't need an outrageous costume, but it doesn't hurt. Every member of the Rose family knows who they are. And this is really one of the cornerstones of this whole show from what I understand. I'm such a fan that, of course, I have gone beyond watching the show. I've seen interviews with the whole cast, and especially with Dan Levy, who created the show with his dad, Eugene Levy. I'm fascinated by him as a person, and I just eat all of that stuff up. So one of the things I learned about the way they created the show was that they took the time to build out an entire life story, basically, for every single character on the show before they could even begin writing a script. I really think that attention to detail may be the whole reason this whole show was so good, because they knew exactly where these characters were coming from, and that gave them a really realistic place to build them into as the show went on. One of the ways this reality expresses itself really clearly on the show is through the costuming. Every single character, from the moment they appear on screen for the first time, looks exactly like they should. Johnny is always wearing bespoke suits. Alexis she looks like a rich girl, right? Because she is. She's also got like this boho chic thing. I'm pretty fashion illiterate, to be fair. Let me just say that right now. But I saw somebody say something one time about how it was so hilarious that Alexis's fashion sense was stuck in 2015 or whatever, because that's when they lost all their money. David is always in a sweater. He wears pants with like skirts over them. Sometimes he just plain old wears a skirt. Only on very rare occasion do you actually see his arms. He's always got something either like floral or like he likes cheeky sayings on his shirts. Everybody has a look. And then, like, of course, Moira, like, I don't even have to tell you about Moira. She is a spectacle, and she kind of uses her clothing, I think, as armor against the town she's in. I think she's always used her clothing as armor against the world. The thing about it as a spectator is that, as a fan of the show, as somebody watching the show, is that you can see any one of these characters in the background of any scene. You can see them from the back. You can see them like off in a corner, and you know it's them. They are recognizable. This is really beautiful as an artist to start to think about this. Every one of these characters had a whole backstory created by their creators, and they outwardly put these looks together that made sense for them as if they were real people. And as an artist, you are a real person, and you do have to project an image to the world. Do you need to be Moira? Like, Moira to me is like Lady Gaga. So yeah, that works for some people if that's who you are. It's marketing, right? But you don't have to do that if that's not you. Like, I'm an Americana folk country singer. I'm not going to dress in a meat dress. Not going to happen. You have to do what works for you, right? And a lot of times that can feel very hard, especially if you're fashion illiterate like me. You have so much backstory, and you've gone through so many phases, and you're like, what really is me? Something that I realized over the past couple of years, it's weird, but it has to do with my hair. So I've gotten compliments on my hair my entire life for the color of it. I'm a redhead. People are obsessed with red hair for some reason. So I've never dyed it, not permanently. I used to put purple streaks in it. That was fun. But there's always been something about it that has like just not been right. So for my whole life, you can see it's kind of like wavy, curly, right? My whole life I knew that it was frizzy and wavy, but I didn't think it was curly enough to wear curly. It certainly wasn't straight enough to wear straight, so I flat ironed the hell out of it for like my whole life. And finally a couple years ago I was like, I'm sick of this. This is not who I am. This is not who I want to be. I don't want to live up to like the beauty standards of this world, right? I still want to look good. I want to look like myself, but I don't want to do something just because I feel like I have to. So I went on a mission to figure out how to wear my hair the way it comes out of my head. I just feel so much more like myself, and I feel like it is the thing about me that is always the same no matter where I go or how I show up. This is me. I'm not saying you need to wear your hair natural. If you love contemporary hair, if you love like the mermaid dye, you know, I don't even know. I don't do any of that stuff to my hair. It's not what I want to do, so I don't even know what half of it's called. But if you want to, you know, straighten your hair or wave your hair or dye your hair or cut your hair or shave your head altogether, like, I'm not saying you have to do any one thing. I'm saying you have to like really examine how it is you present yourself and whether you're presenting yourself because you want to be presented that way or whether you think that's how you're supposed to look. And I think that when you start thinking about it in those terms, finding your one true image, showing up in a way that people are going to recognize you, it's going to come a lot more naturally. It's not about knowing all the designer brands. It's not. As an artist, you want to be recognizable. You want to show up looking like you, and it's not as simple as like always wearing bell bottoms or always wearing a hat or whatever. It's innately knowing who you are. If you are struggling with it, like, get thee to a stylist. A really good stylist, I think, I've never worked with one, but I think a really good stylist will be able to like talk to you about who you are and what makes you feel good and get you looking like yourself. That's lesson number 2. Be yourself, and again, this comes down to trust. It comes down to exploring your heart and your soul and who you are, regardless of what society has told you, regardless of what your teachers and your friends and your parents have taught you or told you, and going back to who you are and trusting that that is the right thing. See you next time.